We often hear the phrase, we are what we eat. But is this truly the case? And is it possible to make every bite of every meal a moment of being? So we nourish our souls as we nourish our bodies. What we choose to eat and drink is incorporated into the building of every cell, every tissue, and every organ in our bodies. So in reality, we truly are what we eat. The modern branch of biology known as epigenetics reveals that the type of food we consume influences the process by which certain genes in our bodies are chosen and expressed. This means that we are not bound by our genes, that God gave us the ability to activate and express positive genes while repressing negative ones that cause disease. One way to achieve this is by properly choosing our living environment, including what we eat and drink. This is why divine guidance has laid down for us basic rules. God says, and eat and drink, but do not be excessive. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, says, no human has filled a container worse than his stomach. A few bites are enough for a human to keep his strength. But if he must, then a third for his food, a third for his drink, and a third for his breath. A few bites signifies the quantity of food, while to keep one's strength signifies the quality that comes from eating food with a high nutritional value. Thus, managing nutritional wellness turns the habit of eating into a form of worship. How? By adhering to heavenly guidance and practicing this habit with an alert awareness. And this can be practically achieved by taking a quick glance at our food before we eat, then choosing the food with the greatest benefit while restricting ourselves to a few bites. Having a third of your capacity means to leave the table while you still have an appetite, but you can actually eat twice as much. We must be guided by our awareness instead of our pleasure-driven instincts. As for the Prophet's command to keep one's strength, it means to eat healthy, nutritious food. Studies have widely addressed the concept of low-calorie intake, which is defined as a reduction in the amount of food we consume without resulting in malnutrition. In 2013, the British journal Diabetes and Metabolism determined that this method is effective in the prevention of obesity, high blood pressure, chronic diseases, and age-related illnesses. These findings are supported by a 2012 study from University College London, which indicates that cutting the quantity of food we eat by 40% may contribute to a 20-year increase in life expectancy. Two of the worst foods causing harm to health are sugar and salt. Dr. Raymond Francis, who wrote a series of scientific books on illness, cancer, and sugar consumption, states that avoiding sugar is considered a form of treatment and prevention of cancer. Why? Because cancer cells live on a single nutritional source, sugar. He affirms that having a teaspoon of sugar suppresses the immune system to half its strength for a period of 2 hours. In his books, Never Be Sick Again and Never Fear Cancer Again, he reveals that eating sugar disrupts the function of all 75 trillion body cells by reducing the amount of oxygen entering each cell, making them less capable of performing their functions of growth and combating disease. We do not become ill unless our cells cease to function properly, which is the reason behind the development of cancer. Another example on managing nutritional wellness is the avoidance of salt. As the World Health Organization confirmed on World Heart Day 2014, that reducing salt intake saves lives. Dr. Oleg Chesnov of the World Health Organization states that the reduction of salt intake by 30% at a global level will save millions of lives from heart disease, stroke, and other related conditions. To improve public health, countries should reduce their overall salt intake. Processed and preserved foods contain extremely high quantities of salt. The principal rule in pursuing wellness in food is that the closer your food is to its natural source, free of any industrial processing, the healthier it is, and the more wellness it will bring you. Nowadays, thousands of studies affirm healthy food is that which leans towards vegetarian sources. A first of its kind study was published on January 30th, 2017 in Biomed Central Medicine Journal. Researchers found that depressed patients were successfully treated for their symptoms only by adopting a modified diet rich in fruits and vegetables. On the other hand, the increased consumption of foods derived from animal sources is one of the main reasons behind the rising prevalence in obesity, heart disease, cancer, and other illnesses. Many people may ask, how shall we get our proteins then? And the answer is simple: from vegetable sources. They are healthier and just as effective. Today, it is becoming difficult to ensure that these animals are free from injected hormones or chemicals. On top of that, many slaughterhouses conduct inhumane practices that can turn our food into sources of germs and disease. Because blood is not properly drained from the animal, it remains in the body and becomes toxic. It is our responsibility to seek alternative forms of slaughter that are both humane and healthy. When animal killing is not merciful, then the amount of stress hormones released by the animal will rise to shocking levels and remain in its blood, tissue, and muscles, which we ultimately consume. As a result, our wellness pays for our lack of empathy. Disregard for managing the wellness of food has led to the spread of the most dangerous illness of our time, obesity. Prior to the 20th century, obesity was a rare condition. It has since become a pandemic, affecting more than 500 million people and killing 3 million individuals around the world each year. There are many diseases caused directly or in part by obesity. They include heart and blood vessel diseases, strokes, diabetes, infertility, as well as many types of cancer. We now find that abstaining from eating for a given period of time can provide tremendous health advantages. This has led to the increased adoption of numerous fasting regimens all over the world, including fasting for 2 days a week, referred to as 5-2 intermittent fasting. Another model of fasting gaining increasing popularity is alternate day fasting, known as the fasting of Prophet David, peace be upon him. Benefits of fasting include the renewal of damaged cells, detoxification, increased burning of stored fat, and the increased release of growth hormones. It can also include positive changes made at the genetic level associated with an enhanced resistance to signs of aging, heart disease, high blood pressure, and infection. The Prophet's words express the absolute truth when he says, fasting is protection. Managing nutritional wellness requires giving priority to the water we drink, since water constitutes more than 70 to 90% of all living cells. It carries the secret of life. God says, and we made from water every living thing. Studies indicate that many of the illnesses we suffer are in fact cries for help made by our bodies due to dehydration and can be treated simply by drinking more water. Water is responsible for balancing and regulating all bodily functions. Surveys find that 75% of people suffer from persistent lack of fluids and even mild dehydration, and that 37% of people have an inadequate sense of thirst that is misread by their bodies as a sign of hunger. Many people make the mistake of relying on their sense of thirst to drink fluids. When you feel thirsty, it's already too late. It means that you have already reached a state of dehydration. The problem is that there is a lag between the shortage of fluids in your body and your brain's awareness of that need. What makes matters worse is that many people substitute water with stimulating drinks like tea or coffee. They are unaware that such drinks promote further loss of fluids and aggravate the state of dehydration. An adult needs 2 liters of water daily, which equals 8 glasses. Keep in mind that this is intended for people living in moderate climates, and the required amount increases in hot weather. When our food is produced in a just and humane way, and when we limit the quantity that we consume while selecting foods with high nutritional values, then this food will surely be better, healthier, and help us achieve wellness and a good life. On the other hand, any negligence on our behalf to investigate misconduct in the preparation of our food is an indirect participation in these inhumane practices. We must not abandon our moral obligation to eat and drink responsibly. We must be aware of the quantity, quality, and method of preparation for our food. Otherwise, our lack of caring will negatively impact our health and wellness. In this way, we can make every bite of every meal a moment of worship, and we can experience the power of living with a heightened awareness, thus making every bite we take a moment of being to nourish our souls while we nourish our bodies.